Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Secretary, it's good to see you. I was going to show you, but I think the rules don't allow me to show you just something because I just want to talk about basics, but hopefully we can sit down later and I can show you what I'm referring to. I want to talk about some of the basics. I live at the border, lived all my life there. I want to talk to you about river roads. I want to talk to you about Carrizo cane, technology that's needed, aerostats, and cameras that are not working, and some infrastructure. Basics that are needed for border security. My area, Laredo, it's the largest inland port, bigger than LA, bigger than any other place in the country. We get 18,000 trailers a day. We're about to expand from 8 lanes to 18, plus another bridge. We got 2 of them, 2 rail bridge. So trade is very important to us. But when we talk about illegal crossings, we've been the second lowest crossing in the country, and we still are out there. I think right now, latest numbers, 30 people, maybe 40 people a day coming through my area, which is almost nothing. So thank you for that. River roads, the river roads, and I wish I could show this just to show you, but the river roads go this way. Let's say the river's here. The river roads, the roads go this way. So Border Patrol can go here, but they can't go across. So what we're asking is for river roads to follow the river itself, and I think that would be a big investment, a good investment that we need. So one is the river roads. The other thing is the Carrizo cane. The Carrizo cane, I know you got some folks from people that are very familiar, but the Carrizo cane will grow almost the size of this. And it's not good for Border Patrol. I think Tony Gonzalez and folks that are from the border understand, we ought to get rid of that Carrizo cane on our river, but get the Mexicans to do that. I'll show you the maps, and I know you've been out there, but it shows you the Carrizo cane is on both sides. If we can clear that up, get the Mexicans to do that, that will be good for Border Patrol. So river roads, Carrizo cane, technology in my area, only 1/3 of the cameras are working. And if you ask some of the other Border Patrol, they're not working. Basically, they're using the RVS, which is an old model. They're trying to get the AST towers where more better to use or whatever technology. But this old technology is like going to a car and you fix it, and they keep coming. The same thing they're doing right now, they keep bringing folks who are coming in to fix it up. 1/3 of the cameras are working, 2/3 are not working. That's not right. Procurement process needs to be better so they can move faster to buy that technology. And finally, there are dead spots. Even now, with the modern technology, Border Patrol can be in certain areas and dangerous areas, and they don't have the technology and radio that's working. Aerostats, the military has a lot of them in surplus. The problem is in the past administrations, they've hired contractors that Homeland was paying too much money. So we need to look at those aerostats that are available from the military surplus itself. Border Patrol, I think right now we got 19,327. We funded 22,000, and we need to hire more. OFO, the men and women in blue, were at 26,334. We're still below the monitoring, so we need to hire those officers. So those are some of the things, and I know I gave you a whole bunch of things, but there's the basic things that are important to Border Patrol. Last point, as we try to hire new Border Patrol, I know the reconciliation has something that will affect them that has to do with Social Security supplement. I've talked to a lot of Border Patrol agents, and right now they're crunching the numbers. Do I retire at the age of 52 or do I have 57? What's going to happen with that supplemental? So instead of focusing on the border, they're human beings and they're focusing on that. I know that's another committee, but those are the basics that I know I don't have enough time, but I would love to follow up with you and your folks on.
Absolutely. I will certainly do that, Congressman. And I want to thank you for talking about the technology needs and the investments that we need at the border in order for these agents to truly do their job and do it with excellence. I will tell you that recruitment at CBP is up over 50%. So as we've allowed them to go back and to do their jobs, we have had more and more interest in people, more applications coming in, and I think that's a fantastic trend, that as people talk about how discouraging it was over the last several years by them not having their hands tied, that now that they actually get to secure the border and work for the American people, that they're recruiting more and more help to be assisting along the way. Thank you. And we'll follow up on the rest of these conversations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Secretary, let me go back to the basics of what I think are needed. We talked about Carrizo Cane river roads, but there's also, in the middle of the river, there are islands. And I got them in the Laredo area. I got them in the Stark County. I don't know if my colleagues have. The bad guys will come in and use those islands and then jump over. We've talked to the International Boundary Water Commission and our Border Patrol folks. That's one area that we ought to focus on to get rid of those islands, and it'd be better for the flow so the river water can go down there to other places. So islands is in the middle of the island, of the areas. The other thing is buoys. Actually, years ago, I brought it up to Border Patrol, but I said, as long as you talk to the International Boundary Water Commission, so it can be okay. I know the state of Texas had one, but it was like a quarter of a mile, and the river is 1,200 miles, so it's like a stamp in the middle of a football field. So we got to look at areas that they will be necessary if we use that, but as long as the International Boundary Water Commission is involved. Retirement, I'll go back to the retirement. It's another committee that's looking at this retirement, but there will be, to be exact, 2,325 Border Patrol agents that will be eligible to retire this year. They're looking at that change. Depending what they do, the other committee, we could lose a lot of folks by the end of the year. So we got to make sure that the other committees are working with you. I would say also that you said that recruitment is up 50%, but we got to close the deal. That is actually hire the Border Patrol agents. And one of the big problems is the polygraph. The polygraph exam is the biggest problem to hiring Border Patrol agents on that, and we can follow up on that particular issue. Port technology, not only in between, but at the ports, 86% of the people that are caught at checkpoints and at the ports of entry are not illegals. They're actually U.S. citizens, according to the U.S. Sentencing Commission. So we got to put the technology also at the port of entries so we can move legitimate trade and commerce. Playing defense on the 20-yard line, I've been talking about this, and I think y'all are doing some of that. I'd rather play defense on the 20-yard line with Mexico, Guatemala, and the other places than our 1-yard line. There is language that we have proposed, but without due respect, the prior administration was not interested in this, but there's language that can give you certain authorities where you can play more on the 20-yard line, which is, again, because the more people we stop over there, less people will come to our border itself. Technology, I know that we've talked about technology, but the drone threat is very real. In fact, just to let you know, a couple of weeks ago, a Border Patrol drone in the Laredo sector was taken down by the cartel operators, which means that cartels now have technology that can take down law enforcement drones. And they do the surveillance. They know what we're doing. And by the time we get through our procurement process to get our drones, years are going. They don't have any procurement rules. They just go to Best Buy and buy all the Best Buys, and they just use off-the-shelf things. So, I hope we can look at that technology also. The other thing is, again, and I'm sorry, I've been communicating with the Border Patrol unions on this, the dead zones that we talked about, it is a real problem. It is a real problem. There are areas where they can't even talk and communicate, so those dead zones are very important. Finally, I think it was brought up, the infrastructure. Let's not forget about the basic infrastructure, and I'm talking about checkpoints, Eagle Pass, Freer, Laredo, and I know we've already put $15 million or doing a design in the Laredo one. That checkpoint because Laredo's the largest inland port, but if that checkpoint was a port of entry, it would be the fourth largest port in the whole country. The reason we had a problem where some migrants died on those trailers is because Border Patrol will look, and if the lines are a mile long, they will just wave them, and the bad guys have an idea where to put them. So they waved that trailer with the migrants that died in San Antonio. So checkpoints like Mr. Gonzalez has mentioned, the basic stuff is very, very important. Finally, I'll close up with a border wall. On the border wall, again, I think you said we're appropriate, which is important. Mm-hmm. The state of Texas, I've always said, don't condemn, but maybe if you look at the possibility of leasing, the state of Texas put it in the law, don't condemn land, but you go ahead and you ease them. And now there are landowners that preempted the federal government because the state will lease out and not condemn itself on that. So I can go on a border wall for a long time, but keep in mind that the largest, and I'll close with this point, the largest amount of people that got here before this last flow were visa overstays. And by the way, the biggest violator was Canada, not asking for a wall with Canada, but it was visa overstays, especially from Canada. So we just got to look at data-driven solutions and look forward to working with you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.